Hi, everybody. I wanted to take a minute to just talk to you about some things. I have been, I've known about these times, as you know, many of you, um, for almost 50 years. Um, and I'd just like you to really listen to me today in, in the intention that it serve you, not your beliefs or what you think is right or wrong or me predicting your future, but it is really what I think we must find in ourselves right now. So I was around during the Vietnam War, and I was around during the integration of the beautiful black colors of beings into our existence here. And there was hope because we felt we could make a difference. But we must remember that for hundreds of years, the black culture had no hope of things ever being different. And and those that live in war all the time have no hope for anything being different. So there are periods of time in our human history where we come to the end of everything we can do, and then something happens. Everything breaks down. Everything reaches what we call a singularity or an end of days or an epic times, uh, where there's not much we can do. It's like a fever. It has to live itself out. And if you know about fevers, fevers live themselves out on behalf of the whole, on behalf of something becoming well. So I'm not going to talk about anything other than what I've been observing and what I've known about we were going to have to deal with within our own internal state in these years. So a friend of mine called me uh, today, and I had a similar event a day or two ago where I was just down for the count. I wasn't sucker punched, but I was gut wrenched. And what I did, because I had this year where I had to stay distressed, de-stressed, not distressed, de-stressed, because of my heart, I had learned how to soothe my body so it doesn't wasn't at the effect of my circumstances or any circumstances. So I drove to just gut wrench sobbing. I drove to say Starbucks, got my favorite chai with whole milk, warm, and I got my favorite turkey Danish. And it wasn't like it made me feel better, but it made the body feel better. It nurtured the body. The body is our key to de-stressing. Our body is our key to de-stressing. And I want to tell you the whole story because I want it to resonate in what you might find you're living in the days to come. But then the next day, or that day, sorry, I was driving back and I saw two, a woman and a man. I couldn't tell their ages. They were bundled up, being evicted. And my daughter had just sent out a template about there's this new law that's been passed here in Albuquerque, not in New Mexico, but in Albuquerque, that really is cruel regarding the homeless. And just to make more space for people who have money to come in and buy up property and to not see the homeless on the street. So you can think right or wrong, but just stay with the story, please. So I drove and I parked in my driveway, and I was just sobbing at the cruelty of the world. And I said, God, I need a sign whether I should go back. And I couldn't really invite him in my house because I'm alone, and I just wouldn't feel safe about people I didn't know. Not that I think they're bad. Just I'm working on, I'm doing prophetic, so I couldn't mind anything else. And in that moment, one of my beloveds, Siobhan, called me, who deals with refugees and the homeless in the streets of Dublin that are coming from Syria and Turkey and I'm sorry, Syria, yeah, and Turkey and Israel and Palestine. It was like perfect timing. And she was sharing with me how she'd had to take 2 days off and just get on the land and just not, she couldn't take any more input at all. And as she shared it and the crises that she was present to, I, uh, I laughingly said, this is a challenge. This is, one of the best way I'd want to feel better because what she was facing was far harder and right up close and personal than what was happening to me. But we talked about it. We actually addressed it and really looked at it that there was something about being in a shared field of care and concern about things we can't do anything about that alleviated the gut wrenching experience that we were both in. So to finish the story, while I was in the car, and her on my WhatsApp, I drove around and the young woman turned out to be a young woman was sitting on the curb, 18-degree weather, Fahrenheit. And I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I said, "Were you evicted?" And she said, "Yeah, my dad and I were evicted." I said, "Is there anything you need?" And I said, "I'm not sure I can offer much, but if I can, I will." And she said, "No, it's all right. My dad's gone over to call my uncle." And I said, "Are you going to stay warm enough?" And she said, "Yeah, I'll be fine. My uncle's on his way." And then that night I talked to my daughter and she's lovely. She works in the under-resourced. She's got a stamina I could never have for seeing the cruelty of humanity towards towards itself. But I learned from that event, I learned that how to be in these times where so many of us are going to feel so helpless and uh, and not be able to do anything about things that we would like to do something about or have be different. And there are other cultures that have been doing this a long time. The Native American, native born culture here in the United States, the Middle East, uh, the Irish. And so it's our turn. It's our turn to find an emotional resiliency that that is ours to do now. It's ours to do. So that leads me to my friend calling today, and she had heard news that just took her down, and she was surprised. Nothing she thought uh, made her feel better, and I said it's because we're in helplessness. We're in times of helplessness for many of us. And I'm talking to the people that are willing to not be in their head about it. Because the head's not going to solve anything. It's just not. Your opinion about what's right or wrong or good or bad or correct action or not correct action will depend on your empathy with being a human being and being with other human beings. It's going to be you're going to be touched by what you think humanity is. And you may hate humanity. I don't have that answer. But if you love humanity like I do, you love all of humanity, you're going to be gut wrenched. And that's just the truth of it. So how do we because we need that ether. We need that ether of caring and loving, but not in the doing because there's so much we won't be able to do, but in our being that. And to be that, we have to be sad sometimes because caring comes with anguish and comes with sorrow and comes with really deep seated, wish it didn't have to be this way kind of experiential states. But the one thing I learned having this heart condition and the zero stress or off I went to my eternal nature, was I learned that my body is my best friend. I learned, and that connecting with another, to cry together, to be together, not to justify or rail, or if you need to do that, please do. Just to be emotional together. I shouldn't have qualified it. Just to let each other have space, because it's about removing the stress. It's not about solving problems. It's about continuing to feel the value of life, your life, and the value of human life, regardless of what is being challenged in that area during this time. So I said to my friend, I said, okay, and it was a perfect scenario, which is what led me to do this just short conversation. Because she said, she was just gut wrenched, and the anguish was unbearable, and she couldn't do anything about it. And I said, it's because you aren't supposed to do anything about it. We're not supposed to do anything about our anguish. We're not trying to, we'll get out of it when we do. The body's resilient. But to be able to cry, to be able to be sad, to be able to wish things were different, to be able to care and feel helpless because you don't have any way to help yourself or others, that's in the feeling realm. That's the aliveness of human beings that makes human beings human in their true nature, in their true sense of self. So I said to her, so let's just go into a practice, which again is why I'm doing this call. Let's just practice being where we are, not in our head, but if we are experiencing an anguish, if we're experiencing a forlornness, if we're experiencing a helplessness, then just take care of the body. Go out in the sunshine, go get a chai, go get something that lets your body know that you're seeking self-soothing, you're seeking self-care. And then the strange thing that happened, which is the other reason I wanted to come into this conversation and just give some ideas about it and share my love for you, with you, and my love for me with you, and my love for humanity with you, is even everything in our world has been living in the mental concepts of sameness and who we think human beings are. It's just got to burn out. It's just got to live itself through. We have enough going on in our emotional field to keep caring and keep loving and keep seeking self-soothing and keep restoring our love of life, because it's the antidote. It's the antidote to all this. We've been doers for centuries, but it's the spiritual beingness that gets us to the other side. Martin Luther King, Maharishi. It's the spirit of ourselves that gets us to the other side, that resolves the secular catastrophes that we find ourselves in human folly. So body first, okay? When you're down for the count, you can barely stand it. Your body's just waking up. It's just waking up to handle its registers of homeostasis. It's just telling itself it needs to get back in balance. And if you just do what self-soothes, the body can get back in balance. But the extraordinary thing I found, because I was really down for the count the other day, the extraordinary thing I found is how today is so even. It's relaxed, it's lighthearted, it's I can go. My pipes are frozen, and it's just my pipes are frozen. Kevin, my god dog, and I spent 30 seconds as fast as I could to try to get the bird feeders filled before my nose hairs froze, and I came back in the door. So you just return to life. You just return to the common simplicities of life. And I have warned people and been frightened for humanity for 50 years. And, that's, we're a delivery system, us psychics. But I do know that we must take care of ourselves during this time. And my son, Aaron, when he was a little boy, I got really uh, fatigued. His birth had been hard. And I told him I had to go away for a month to just lay down, basically, and be massaged and things like that. And when he was about 5, he said to me, "Mom, I'm so glad you went away and you got better." He said, "Because I wouldn't want to be in life without you." And I think that's kind of where I want to leave us. We're not strong in our modern culture to talk about our emotional field. We fear it. We drug ourselves and alcohol ourselves and opinionate ourselves in our mental head cases just so we don't have to feel. Well, now we have to feel, okay? Now we get to be present in what we're present to, open up into what there is to open up into, and have what there is to have, and take care of ourselves. You know why? Because someday human beings will say to us, "I'm so glad you kept yourself holding on to that which you love about existence, so that one day I could reach out to you and be able to love my existence too." We are a one soul human, my beloveds. We are a shared field of humanity. Every one of us that goes down for the count and can get back up, gets up for another human being. Promise. Promise. I really promise. So, if you don't mind, would you just cry when it's time to cry? And laugh when it's time to laugh, and feel the horror that you can't believe that human beings can do to each other. And just feel it. Because if we keep feeling it, if we keep letting it have a place, then more and more human beings will not like the feeling. And there's just a really good chance that the etheric, spiritual nature of human being can rise again on behalf of all life. Thank you for listening to me. I put the little Buddha here. I also my bear. Here's my bear from Acoma, from the Acoma tribe. The Acoma tribe that talks about oneness. These are their photos. This is their journey from being down in the earth. They said their people came to play with the skies and lived on the mesas out the thing. This is my buffalo. This is my corn doll. I love us. I love us humans. Human beings have been taught to hate each other and murder and kill each other. But it's not what we are. And it never will be. If my dad can say, good old white patriarch can say, he couldn't believe he was voting for a black man. And he loves that black man. Then we could stand for our country. Just because it doesn't look that way right now. We can stand for the principles of our country and include all the mistakes that have been made. And where we're standing, we can be that. We can be that, my friends. And it won't be easy. But don't let your emotional field go stagnant. Please, I beg you, don't lose our humanity in the midst of this. Don't lose our humanity. Oh, my love, take precious care of yourself and thank you for listening to me. May it serve. Namaste.